Joining me now is UFC lightweight Matt Frevola, who has had an interesting pandemic, interesting quarantine period. Was supposed to fight last month, did not happen. Went all the way out there. Had a member of his team test positive for COVID, so he's going to talk to us about that and some other stuff. But first off, Matt, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm back home in Long Island, New York. I'm training with the Serra-Longo boys again and enjoying a nice summer in Long Island now.
Good stuff, man. And there's obviously a lot to talk about. And let's just dive right into it. Let me hear it from the horse's mouth, so to speak. What has this last couple of months been like for you since we last saw you fight?
Man, it was rough. I had that fight scheduled against Roosevelt Roberts April 25th, and then this whole virus thing hit, and that fight got canceled. Like I want to say like 2 weeks out. You still there?
Yep, we're good.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah. That fight got canceled 2 weeks out, and I was trying to do the whole quarantine fight camp up here in New York for that one, which was tough, because all the gyms were closing down, and I was pretty much hitting the bag and like running and working out at my house, and then doing some sessions at Quinta's house, but. It didn't feel like enough for a fight camp, and in April it was real bad up here in New York. So that fight got canceled, and then they told me that they'd get me rebooked, soon, and I got booked for June 20th, and against Frank, and I was pumped about that, and I actually went down to Tampa, Florida, because everything was open down there. I got my manager and my coach Matt Arroyo down there, and he was opening the gym so that me and Billy Q could prepare for our fights. And so it was a great fight camp down in Tampa, and I went out to Vegas with Billy Q for his fight. I cornered him, watched Billy Q handle business. We're all tested negative during that trip, and then we went back to Tampa, and I finished up my camp, and we went back out to Vegas. And as soon as we checked down in Vegas on Tuesday, we both got tested, and then on Wednesday we found out that Billy was positive. And once they told us that, they were kind of they said they're going to send someone up to retest Billy to make sure it wasn't like a false positives, and to just stay quarantined in our rooms on Tuesday or on Wednesday. And then they sent the guy up, and they tested Billy again, and he was positive again. And we were still, trying to, because I was negative twice. So we were doing everything we could to make sure like the fight could stay on. And I was even talking to like the UFC doctors, and I told them that I had a positive antibodies test as well, and I sent him proof of that, which pretty much means that I had it back in the like a couple like who knows when I had it, and my body fought it off, which is good to know, and I had 2 negative tests of that week, so I thought I was good to fight, but and then late Wednesday night they told me that it was off, so.
Yeah, that's obviously a difficult situation for everyone involved. You're talking about the fact that they canceled it, even though you had the antibody test and you were testing negative. Do you understand the decision for them to call off the fight still, or do you think that you could have been able to fight given the test that you were taking?
Yeah, I get it. I mean, these are unprecedented times, and I guess you got to play like on the side of caution as for now,
Yeah, for sure. And I talked to Billy when you guys got back from your never-ending road trip across the country, and he said that you were pretty cool with them. You guys kind of talked it out, and there was no ill will, and you seemed to be a good friend in that regard. Was that difficult at all for you to not take it out on him too much? I know you guys are close, and sometimes it's easier to get mad at the people you care for than somebody that's a preliminary friend group person.
No, it wasn't anything, because I know he wanted me to go in there and smash this dude, and it was out of his hands, it was out of my hands, and it is what it is.
For sure, man. So talk about that trip over. I mean, I think he said it took around 40 hours for you guys to get from Vegas to Tampa. So I feel like that I know the answer to this question, but how miserable is that?
Oh man, it was quite the journey, but we were like every time we'd stop for gas, I was kind of getting all my candies, all my food I wanted to eat. So I was just enjoying munching on the car ride. Um, but we did it. We drove all the way to Florida, and then I was down in Florida. I quarantined and did 14 days in Florida, and then I got tested, and I got my 7th negative COVID test. So, and then once I got that, I went home, and I'm home, Long Island, and I'm kind of trying to plan out this next fight camp. Whether how long I stay up here and when I'm going to go to Tampa to train, and we'll see when I'm going to get another fight.
So as far as you're concerned and everything you're being told, like, you're cleared, good to go. The UFC could offer you a fight tomorrow, and it would just be like
Yeah,
a normal, sign on the
yeah,
dotted line and you're in.
yeah. I sent the UFC my negative test again, so I mean that's like 7 negative tests that I've got. So I mean, I should be
Yeah.
good.
I think that's more than more than most people can say in this pandemic. And one of the other things I wanted to ask you too was, you're in an interesting scenario here where you're only one of two fighters that have had you're partaking in one of two fights that have been canceled because of the coronavirus. And I know Jacare Souza, Uriah Hall, their fight was called off, and Dana White said, he's going to take care of them. He's going to still throw them some cash. Yeah. Did the UFC take care of you? Did you get any sort of compensation for going all the way out there and doing this thing?
Yeah, they did. They really took care of me. They paid me my show and my win. So I mean, it definitely took a little of the salt out of the wound. Um, so yeah, they took care of me.
Wow, that's great, man. Great to hear. And I guess what's the timeline you're looking at here? You just trying to get back in there as soon as possible? Seems like the UFC is starting to book their August schedule. Any type of date, name, opponent, anything you're looking to have on the billing for your next card?
Yeah, I was right when it happened. I was hoping to get on one of those Fight Island cards, but they were saying something that it was too soon, and we had to get visas or something, and the cards were full. But yeah, we told them, hopefully August 15th. I'd love to get on that like pay-per-view card, the Stipe DC. But August for sure, mid to late August, and I'd like to fight Khama Worthy. Honestly, I mean, I was impressed with him beating Violent Bob Ross, so I think that would be a good fight. But we'll see. We got some names, and we're talking with the UFC now. But yeah, that I definitely would like to fight Khama Worthy eventually.
Yeah, that'd be great, man. You guys are both have the wins against Pena, and was he a guy that you're like kind of familiar with before he got to the UFC? I know he had done a couple fights up my way in New England and Connecticut and Rhode Island. Was he somebody that you knew from the regional scene at all, or have you just seen him fight since he's
Yeah,
been in the UFC?
yeah. Billy Q fought him, and Billy Q knocked him
Right,
out
he did.
back in the day. And I remember watching him, and I've been kind of watching him ever since then. And he's real skilled, real good fighter, and I think it would be a great fight.
Yeah, I do too, man. And well, whenever it is that you step in the cage, man, I wish you the best of luck. Hopefully it's soon. And appreciate the time today, Matt. Best of luck going forward, and take care, man.
Yeah, of course, man. I should have news hopefully soon. So yeah, keep an eye out.
Awesome, man. I will.